So no matter how hard I try to make it otherwise, this short is my highest viewed piece of content month after month. But it's only the first of a 4-part series, and people never see the other 3. So I've decided this week to upload them in long form. It all started with this comment, asking me to do a video on when to play edge versus center circle, and also how to determine whether to rotate late or early. This is mainly down to personal preference, but you can still find the basics here with pros and cons for each. Let's go! Early rotations are much easier to play, but to play it successfully and consistently, you're going to want to know all areas of the map to determine the best location of the zone. Some teams rotate instantly after the zone pops, some take it a little slower, about 30 seconds, to move out. If you're already established by the time the rest of the squads start moving, you'll have a massive advantage against them and able to pick them out of their rotations and eliminate teams who've just arrived to a location. You'll also have the ability to control the zone, moving teams around to areas that work for you. While the majority of players would decide to go for that early rotation, coming into circle through the blue zone is a popular choice among many professional teams. This is an advanced strategy that requires knowledge of the map and good game sense to determine where teams will be. This is because it's very easy to get caught out here, both on the edge of circle and on rotation. By the time you make it in, teams will already be established in their spaces, taking up the most advantageous spots and potentially leaving you stuck in an undesirable location with multiple teams looking at you. There are pros to this strat too though. You won't meet anyone while rotating, so no messy fights in the middle of the road. Don't lie, you've been there. This also means in a hard shift, you're not amongst the 6 teams all trying to fight for a spot on the same side of zone. With a late rotation, sneaking into a spot without attracting attention or full sending into that third-party opportunity from behind is much easier. Some teams use a mix of both rotation strategies, coming in through the blue in phases 1 to 3, and then switching to an early rotation when the damage becomes too high. Like I said in the beginning, this is really down to personal preference and what works for your team. I personally prefer early rotation so I have more time to assess my surroundings, but that's just me. You'll have to do a lot of experimenting to figure out how you like to play. Our next topic is edge zone versus center. The difficulty with determining whether to play edge or center is that it can vary from game to game. Most teams have their strategies, but they will still do the opposite sometimes. Going edge can mean getting stuck when the circle shifts away. It also means a lot of added pressure from behind because that blue zone makes a barrier you don't want to cross in later phases. Except sometimes click this video right here to see when it's okay. This is particularly unhelpful when teams further in decide you're in their space. But this position can be advantageous when played correctly. You've just got to be hyper aware of what's going on. Edge gameplay usually means gatekeeping, and if you can put yourself where you know teams will be coming in, that means a lot of extra points for you. It also generally keeps you away from a lot of the major league teams who are experienced enough to go center in the mid game, meaning large rotations aren't so dangerous since you don't have to go in between multiple enemies. When you play center, it's generally busy. Center typically goes hand in hand with early rotations, so this means you've come in early, set up shop, and are ready to take down enemies. This can be more difficult than it sounds though. Because you're center, you have teams in every direction, meaning it's very easy to get third-partied and have angles taken away from you. You have to have every player on the team looking and giving information constantly, or you're gonna go out. This is a very intense play to make, especially in a competitive space. The good news is you generally don't have to worry about zone, because you're in the center. Worst that happens is that you become edge as the zone moves away. If you're confident in your team strategy, this is a great strategy to use because there's lots of points to be had in the center. High risk, high reward. Thank you for watching both the shorts and this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, click this playlist to watch more guides on rotations and throwable strategy, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. See you there.